Welcome back to a brand new Civ 6 or Civilization 6 video. Now, science victories in Civ 6 are one of the easiest victory types to achieve. Launching an expedition to a new planet, leaving everyone else behind in a terrible state like the United States does in Middle Eastern conflicts, isn't the most intricate victory type out there. This guide will show you how to win a science victory on deity in Civilization 6. It's going to be a step-by-step guide, so if you know nothing about this game, this will help you. As always, leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future content, and let me know down below some of your tips for a science victory. Before we deep dive into the discussion, like Southerners deep fry their pickles, I just found out about that the other day, and I am still appalled, let's go ahead and talk about the overview of all the things you need to do. You want to get writing and worker techs, political philosophy, 10 cities, industrial zones, commercial hubs, universities, spies to steal technology because the AI cheats, might as well make use of it, industrialization, Ruhr Valley, research labs, communism, globalization, spaceports, move spies to defend said spaceports, and spaceship parts. That's pretty much the overview. We're going to go in depth on each and every single one. Now, the first step is to obviously beeline writing and build some nice campuses. You don't want to build the campuses yet, I think. You want to build them in your first few cities before you get political philosophy and ancestral hall. You just want to get those campuses nice and locked in, finish them for a nice and early science boost. You want to get the worker techs as well, whether it be mining or irrigation or even sailing. And pretty much what I'm trying to say is you just want to get all the really early technologies you want first. After that, we are going to make a beeline towards political philosophy. Getting a big PP, a very fast PP in fact, is going to be key because being able to build Ancestral Hall will allow you to build settlers faster and give them free builders. Just pop out of nowhere somehow. Don't ask me how they come out. But you do, after that, want to spam out settlers, get about 10 cities. You might want to build a couple if you can before political philosophy. But after you get that, you are going to plug in colonization and ancestral hall for twice as much production towards settlers. You go ahead, spam out those settlers, and get those 10 cities ASAP. You don't need 10 cities. You know, the more cities you get, the better. But obviously, when it comes to 10 cities, I find that whenever I do get 10 cities, the game is literally just over. I could be making 0 science per turn, and we could have Chad, Korea in this game, making 500 science per turn. And if I get my 10 cities by turn 100, the game is over. Let's go home. It's already over. But after that, you do want to get industrial zones and commercial hubs. They are very big for 2 reasons. Industrial zones give you production for space parts late game, which are very expensive, and commercial hubs give you not only money, but trade routes, which is a surprise tool that will help us later. After that, we want to get universities right after industrial zones. Universities give you science, the science victory. I really should not have to explain this. But after that, you are going to want to go and get spies to steal technologies. At this point, the AI is probably very far ahead of you, and using the spies to steal their hard-earned work is it's easy, all right? Cheaters always win, all right? In Civ, at least, cheaters always win. I guess the AI cheats more than anything. You just steal their cheating. Doesn't matter. Build the spies, steal the tech, easy. After that, you will want to beeline industrialization for 2 main reasons. Getting factories and coal power plants will allow you to get more science from research labs and a lot more production. And the Ruhr Valley is by far the best wonder you can get for a science victory. The massive production boost towards building spaceship parts in the late game is nothing to scoff at. 20% extra boost and extra production from mines and quarries is amazing if you get the right city for it. And even if you don't, that 20% production is just juicy. Oh my goodness. After that, you will want to get the research labs. Again, it gives you science. I really should not have to explain this. You'll want to actually go get communism. Never go democracy. I don't know why anyone would go democracy for a science victory. You might be like, oh, but I could get trade routes and alliance. Shut up, all right? You get science and production per population from communism, and you get an insane amount of food, ironically, and production from your domestic trade routes. you get everything you need from communism. You get the science you need, the production you need, and you get amazing internal trade routes that'll easily let you get 200 to 300 production at least in your main cities. Communism is absolutely the best thing to go for a science victory. I mean, look at North Korea in our timeline, the obvious most advanced country on Earth, who does not have anything except the best military equipment. And yeah, you just want to emulate North Korea in Civ 6, essentially. Next up, you do want to get globalization because it gives you the 5% science per suzerain. Your suzerain of 3 or 4 city-states, that's a 20% boost. That's pretty damn good and lets you get the last few techs you need. You want to get spaceports and defend those spaceports with spies. I do recommend building 3 to 4 of them for the most part, because obviously you only need 1, but with 3 and 4, you could send everyone on the exoplanet expedition boost missions, and therefore you'd be able to build 4 in the time you would only be able to build 1 with just 1 spaceport, and this just helps you get things along quicker. Obviously, only do multiple spaceports if you have nothing else to do. If you have other stuff to build, go build them. But if you have nothing to do, you might as well just get as many spaceports as you can. Finally, you do want to go ahead and get the last space parts. There really isn't anything I could say about this because every game, it's just completely different. Like, you might get like a very nice tech tree and you won't have to get every technology, or you might have to literally research every technology. The future era is hidden anyway, so that really is up to luck, a little bit of RNG, I guess. But that's pretty much the steps that you need to require. You go by this guide, and you will easily win a science victory or your money back. Although I didn't charge for this course, I guess. Let's go ahead and talk about the wonders you do want for a science victory. There are 5 main wonders you do want to look out for. The first one is going to be Etemenanki. The amount of science it gives you from marshes and floodplains in the city makes it so worth it, and if you beeline it fast enough, you should be able to get it 99% of the time. You want to chop it out just to ensure, but it's so good. If you're near floodplains or you're playing on a wetlands map with a lot of marsh, you definitely want this wonder, as it'll give you up to like 30 to 40 science in the early game, which is amazing. If you get a really good start for Etemenanki, I do recommend just beelining it, getting out the builders, chopping it out, and then just sitting in as much science as you would ever need. The next wonder is a little easier to get, and that's Kilwa Kanasawa. I've never been able to say this right, but in any case, the important thing is it gives you massive science from city-states you're suzerain of. It gives you yields depending on what city-states you're suzerain of. If you're suzerain of 1 science city-state, it will give you a boost to science in that specific city. Whereas if you're suzerain of 2 or more science city-states, you will get a boost to every city, an extra boost. So one of your city would get 2 boosts and the other would just get 1 boost. Again, this is only really worth it if you can consistently keep suzerainty of 2 science city-states. Another asterisk type wonder, but the next one is going to be a wonder you should go for a lot of the times, and that is Petra. If you get a great desert location with plenty of desert hills, you will want the Petra 900% of the time for 2 main reasons. Number 1, it makes desert tiles absolutely incredible. 2 food, 2 production, 2 gold is absolutely amazing, especially on desert hills. And if you do have a river nearby, you can get the Ruhr Valley in that city, and all your desert hills will give you an extra bit of production, which is really nice. Desert cities with Petra usually are the best production cities. Also because oil is likely to spawn there, and with oil you build some oil rigs, boom, just like that. Screw the environment because I get 4 extra production, hell yeah. But after that, the next wonder is a necessity. It is the Ruhr Valley. It's such a good wonder, and if you're able to get it instead of the AI, you will have all the production you need. Late game, it is all about production for science victories. Early game into mid game, it really is a lot about just getting all the science you need, universities, libraries, research labs. But by the time late game comes around, spaceship parts are so expensive that cutting down 8 to 9 turns per spaceport, which you'd be able to do with Ruhr Valley, and maybe have spaceship parts in like 10 or 11 turns, will give you a massive advantage, allowing you to build the spaceship parts a lot faster than the AI, hence securing your victory. The final wonder that you do probably want to get is Oracle. It isn't the hardest wonder to get, and it's very good, especially if you have a surplus in gold or faith, making patronaging great people 25% cheaper than normal, allowing you to get all the really good great scientists and engineer in the late game, whether to help you build different wonders, give you a flat boost in science, or give you some production towards spaceship parts. Oracle is a very underrated science victory wonder. It isn't the biggest one you have to go to, because if you do get industrial zone and campuses everywhere, you should get a good amount of the late game scientists and engineers, but with Oracle and a good enough amount of money, you'll easily be able to secure it. Call me Zigzag Ziggle because we're going to be talking about some pitfalls to avoid. I really have 4 main ones. The first one's going to be neglecting defense or infrastructure because you're falling behind in science. Now, I understand how insecure a lot of you might feel with your pride being hurt, having a very small ween when it comes to the science charts, whereas Germany's over here with a massive 200 science per turn dong by turn 100. Don't worry about that. That's actually super normal on the higher difficulties, especially deity. You really want to focus on building a decent defense against barbs and early aggressors early on, while building your infrastructure, which is really just builders and settlers. Only after that, after everything's really done, that's when you're going to want to start building your campuses. But the second pitfall actually is the complete opposite of the first one. Call me a hypocrite, I guess. But it's waiting too long for campuses. I just said you want to focus on infrastructure and defense, but some people go like, oh, I want to build a wonder. Oh, I want to just get like the granary or something. Just don't, right? Get your settlers, get your builders, and then go ahead and get your campuses. You really don't need anything else in the ancient era aside from writing and campuses. Your ancient era is really just you getting your empire out with as many cities as you can, and then getting campuses in each and every single one. Obviously, if you are waiting for colonization or ancestral hall, or even the second promotion for Magnus, the one that prevents you from losing population when building a settler, then you can go ahead and spend your free time building a campus. The third pitfall is not planning in advance. There have been a lot of games where I wasn't able to build Roar Valley because I didn't plan for it, and all its spots were literally covered by the Industrial Zone, Aqueduct, Dam, and Commercial Hub. Yeah, you want to get the better map tax mod. It really helps you out, but even without that, planning every single district is super important just to ensure that you can place all the districts you want and that you're not making a mistake, because by the time the late game comes around, you can't remove districts unless you raise your own city, which you literally can't do. But planning in advance will allow you to get everything you want, as optimized as it is, because with better map tax, you can actually see the adjacency yields on your districts. The final pitfall is not going communism and domestic trade routes. I will die on this hill. I don't care, all right? Communism is by far the best science victory government, and it isn't even close. Democracy gives you really good international trade routes. Communism gives you better trade routes because domestic trade routes already provide food and production. You add that in with communism, and it's giving you a lot more food and production than democracy ever would. Not only that, but the production per population and the flat 10% boost to science is literally all you need for a science victory. Before we leave this hopefully great video, let's go ahead and talk about small tips for success. These are not essentially tips for a science victory per se, but they are small little tips that will help you in general to win a science victory faster, if that makes sense. The first one is locking in district production. For those of you who don't know, districts get more expensive as the game goes on for every tech you research. What you want to do is start building a district, like place the district, get the animation for it and everything, and then you want to go ahead and build something else. Since you place the district, the production cost is going to stay the same even if you research new technologies, so that eventually when you do get around to building it, it'll be a lot cheaper than usual. The next one is getting a research alliance. The reason I didn't say this in my step-by-step guide is because it really depends on whether the AI likes you or not. If you can get a friend, obviously go for a research alliance, but it doesn't happen all the time, so, I just wanted to place this here so people don't tell me down below you forgot about research alliances. The third tip is saving for Eurekas. It's simple. If you're about to research a technology and you are going to get the Eureka in a little while, go switch to another technology, because then you'd be saving a good amount of turns, because after you get the Eureka, the technology would completely finish. Again, if you are just research up to where getting a Eureka would allow you to get the full technology, and switch to another tech, that helps you save a couple turns. Next up is typing in the wonder name to see if anyone else is building it. If you have a good enough portion of the map explored, go to the search mechanism where you search for like resources and stuff like that, and type in the wonder you want to look for. It'll show you everyone who is currently constructing the wonder that you have discovered. So for example, I'd be able to see in the Fog of War, if I type in Ruhr Valley, I'd be able to see all the Ruhr Valley constructions everywhere. And then I could plan, right? If I see someone almost finishing the wonder, I'd know not to waste my time on it. Whereas if there's a wonder I really think would be nice, but it's kind of hard to get a lot of the time, I could just type in the method, and if no one's building it, I'll know I can get it for free. The final free tip is going to be spies are OP at canceling spaceport races. If you're, especially your first couple of times, you aren't going to win like a sub 300 victory probably, and you're going to be neck and neck with the AI. Now, when you are neck and neck with the AI, using your spies, which should be well promoted from stealing techs and defending your own spaceports, to go ahead and pillage enemy spaceports will set them back a lot. Repairing a spaceport takes like 10 turns at least, which is a huge amount of time wasted for the AI, and can save you a lot, because again, exoplanet expedition stalls when you pillage the spaceport. As always, leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future content if you did enjoy, and let me know any other tips or tricks I may have missed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.